It can change the way your blood vessels, joints, and muscles work in your legs in just a few weeks. In my experience, people who start their morning with it feel like their legs come alive. I'll tell you why this happens, how this mechanism works, and how to properly incorporate this element into your diet. This will be the first recommendation, the first step to restoring youthful legs. You know what's most surprising? People look for complex medications, expensive supplements, creams, and procedures, but leg strength often returns from what's literally right at hand in the kitchen cupboard. And if I could tell each of you just one phrase, it would be, start your morning with something that nourishes your blood, because the strength of your legs depends on the quality of your blood. And here's the first product I want to tell you about: buckwheat, simple, good old buckwheat porridge, which many have unfairly forgotten. I know someone will smile right now. Doctor, are you serious? Buckwheat? Yes, I'm serious. As never before, because over 30 years of practice, I'm convinced if there's a product that restores blood vessels, strengthens capillaries, and restores leg strength, it's this. Let me explain why. Buckwheat isn't just a source of carbohydrates, it's a rich complex of magnesium, rutin, iron, and plant protein. These substances directly affect the health of blood vessels. Rutin strengthens the walls of veins and arteries, makes them elastic, and prevents dilation and fragility. Magnesium relieves muscle and vascular spasms, improves blood flow, iron oxygenates the blood. And protein serves as the building block for muscle fibers. All this is exactly what your legs need to be strong. When you eat buckwheat in the morning, you literally turn on your circulation. The body receives energy without overloading your stomach, and your blood vessels become more active. Therefore, after just a week of regular use, you may notice that your legs stop buzzing in the evening, night cramps disappear, and your gait becomes more confident. I had a patient, a 72-year-old man, a former driver. He complained that he could barely make it to the kitchen in the morning. His legs were wobbly, his feet seemed unresponsive. We started small. We eliminated his usual sandwich with sausage and coffee, replacing it with warm buckwheat porridge with a spoonful of olive oil and warm water with lemon. A month later, he told me, "Doctor, I'm walking around the house again without stopping, even going out into the yard." And do you know what he added? "I hadn't thought it was so simple." Yes, it is simple, but simplicity is the main secret of health. Buckwheat is pure natural energy, unprocessed, unartificial. It helps blood vessels be flexible, muscles resilient, and joints mobile. When the body receives buckwheat in the morning, it doesn't waste energy digesting heavy food, but rather directs its energy toward recovery. But one condition is crucial. The buckwheat must be properly prepared, not boiled to the point of porridge. Not with butter and meat, but slightly undercooked or even steeped overnight in hot water or kefir. This buckwheat retains all its vitamins and acts as a gentle vascular tonic. You can add a little honey, nuts, or berries. The result is a breakfast that nourishes the blood, brain, and legs all at once. In my experience, people who start their mornings with buckwheat for at least 2 weeks in a row note not only lighter legs, but also a clearer head, improved sleep, and lower blood pressure. This is because the blood vessels are restored throughout the entire system, from the feet to the brain. After all, blood is one, and by improving its quality, we heal the entire body. You may ask, "Doctor, why in the morning?" Because morning is the time when blood vessels are most receptive to nutrients. After sleep, the body is like a clean slate, and it will absorb everything you give it first. If you give it a quick sugar rush, it will experience a spike and a crash. If you give it the right natural complex, it will have fuel for the entire day. I always tell my patients, the morning is an investment in your health, and believe me, buckwheat is worth it. It contains the power of the earth, simplicity, and genuine benefits. It's not just food, it's a tool for restoring blood vessels, nerves, and muscles. Try it for at least a week, every morning without exception. Just replace your usual breakfast with a bowl of buckwheat, and you'll feel how not only your body, but also your mood changes. Because when the blood flows freely, when your legs obey, a person feels alive. I beg you, don't put it off. It really works. But I don't limit myself to buckwheat alone. In my practice, I see that a comprehensive approach yields the maximum effect. And if buckwheat strengthens blood vessels and nourishes muscles, then the next element I'll tell you about affects not only your legs, but also your brain, mood, and the rate of aging. This is what literally turns on the body from the inside and helps slow down the aging process of the nervous system. And in the second recommendation, I'll tell you about something that not only helps the soul, but also literally slows down the aging of the brain and Nerves, improving the connection between the brain and the legs. Many haven't even heard of this, but without it, recovery will be incomplete. When blood vessels begin to function better, the blood becomes more vibrant and muscles stronger. Many notice a surprising effect. The body comes alive, but the brain seems to lag behind. Sometimes a person says, "Doctor, I feel better, but my gait is still uneven. My coordination is failing. My head is in a fog." This is a signal that it's time to take care of the nervous system, because it controls every movement, every step, every muscle in our legs. And this is where what I want to talk about in the second recommendation begins, because strong legs are not only about strong blood vessels and muscles, they are also about healthy nerves that transmit signals from the brain to the body without interference, and you know which product best supports this connection. Eggs, simple, affordable, but truly unique in their composition. Many are afraid of eggs, believing that they increase cholesterol, but research in recent years has completely disproved this myth. Natural eggs, especially those from the countryside or farms, are a concentrate of beneficial substances, B vitamins, especially B12, and choline, folic acid, lecithin, amino acids, which directly nourish the nervous system. Without these substances, nerve fibers become weak, signals from the brain are less effective, and a person begins to stumble and lose confidence in their movements. I often say, the brain and legs are one team. If the brain is tired, the legs lose rhythm. If the legs weaken, the brain stops receiving energy, and eggs restore this balance. Halin, contained in the yolk, is the building block for nerve cells. It strengthens the myelin sheath, which is responsible for the speed of impulse transmission. And when impulses travel quickly and clearly, the leg muscles become obedient again, reactions become lightning fast, and the gait is confident. I have observed dozens of cases where simply adding 2 boiled eggs to a person's morning diet literally changed a person's gait. For example, a 66-year-old woman, a former teacher, came to me complaining of weak legs and weakness after sleep. We adjusted her breakfast. 2 eggs were added to the buckwheat, sometimes scrambled, sometimes as an omelette with herbs. After 3 weeks, she said, "Doctor, I feel like an electric current is running through my legs. I walk and my body obeys. It's not magic, it's biochemistry. When the nervous system receives proper nutrition, the body responds with gratitude." Furthermore, eggs contain vitamin D, which is necessary for calcium absorption and strong bones. Strong bones are the key to a confident gait and stability. Without sufficient vitamin D, muscles become weak, even if blood vessels and nerves are functioning well. Therefore, eggs are a kind of bridge between the body and the brain, connecting strength and control. Many patients over 60 say, "I have trouble concentrating, my memory is failing me, my movements have become uncertain." But when they start nourishing the brain the same way they nourish the muscles, everything changes. After all, aging doesn't begin with the body but with the loss of the connection between the body and the brain, and this connection needs to be nourished every day. In my experience, people who continue to eat eggs for breakfast live longer and feel happier. They move more confidently, think more clearly, fall less often, and recover more quickly from exercise. This isn't just nutrition. It's prevention of nervous system aging. You can try a simple option. In the morning, eat a bowl of buckwheat and 2 boiled eggs, either scrambled or poached. Add some greens, dill, parsley, a pinch of turmeric for blood vessels. Drink a glass of warm water. All this takes just 10 minutes, but it triggers a whole cascade of recovery processes. And you know what's interesting? After 2-3 weeks of this breakfast, people begin to feel a slight tingling in their legs, a warmth, as if the blood is flowing faster. This is no coincidence. This is a sign that the nerve fibers are reactivating. The brain is clearly listening to the legs again. The feeling of unsteadiness goes away, sudden cramps disappear. A sense of control returns, and this is precisely what people over 60 often lack, the feeling that you are in control of your body, that every step is yours, that life is under control again. And if buckwheat strengthens blood vessels, then eggs enable these vessels to work in conjunction with the brain. This is the harmony between strength and control, between body and spirit. So please, don't ignore this advice. It's simple, delicious, and incredibly beneficial. Start your morning with strength and clarity, and you will feel your legs getting stronger every day. Your step is more confident and your mood brighter. But there is one more important detail that many forget. It can undo all your efforts, even if you eat right. It's not a food or a drink, but a habit that quietly but inevitably damages blood vessels, nerves, and joints. And if you don't change it, no amount of buckwheat or eggs will help. This is exactly what I'll talk about in the third recommendation, about what can literally destroy a person if you miss this moment. This is what I always discuss with patients at the third appointment, when they've already felt the first improvements. You know, I've been observing people for many years, and I see one pattern that, I admit, makes me a little sad every time. People are ready to change their diet, they're ready to drink. When you're young, you hardly notice how easy it is to move, your legs run on their own, your body obeys, confidence and a joy for life are in every step. But time passes, and one day you catch yourself wondering, why do my feet feel like lead? Why could I once walk several kilometers without getting tired, but now even after a short walk I feel like I have to sit down? This happens gradually, and it seems inevitable with age. But believe me, I say this as a doctor who has observed hundreds of patients after 50 and 60 years of age. Leg strength can be restored. Moreover, I'll show you that it all starts with what you put on your plate in the morning. You may be surprised, but I'm not exaggerating. Yes, what you eat for breakfast determines how strong your legs will be, how your blood circulation works, how elastic your blood vessels are, and how quickly your muscles recover. And here's what I'll tell you. There's one simple product that almost no one thinks about, but it can literally restore the lightness of your gait. And the most amazing thing is that it's not an expensive product, not a supplement, not a miracle powder, but ordinary food, accessible to everyone. At the end of this video, I'll tell you what it is and why it helps. This discovery has changed the lives of many of my patients. But before I reveal this product, let's understand why legs lose strength in the first place. Many people think it's just age. But that's not entirely true. Age isn't a death sentence. It's simply an indicator of how many years we've lived. But here are the true reasons. It's in our lifestyle, diet, and attitude to ourselves. With age, blood flow slows, especially in the lower extremities. The heart pumps blood with the same force, but the vessels become less elastic, the muscles less active. And yet the leg muscles are our second pump. They are supposed to help the blood return to the upper extremities. When a person is sedentary, eats junk food, and drinks little water, their blood vessels become tired. And then the first warning signs begin: heaviness, cramps, swelling, and loss of stability. I often ask my patients, have you noticed how your legs feel different in the morning than they do in the evening? In the morning, they're perky and light, but by the end of the day, they feel like lead. This isn't just fatigue, it's the body's signal that it lacks proper nutrition and internal support. And if you recognize this early, you can reverse the process. I had a 68-year-old patient, a former construction worker. He came to me using a cane and said, "Doctor, I'm not asking for my youth back. I just want to walk to the store without pain." We started with simple steps, changed his diet, added a morning ritual with one food item, and a month later he came to see me without a cane. He laughed like a child and said, "I feel like my legs obey me again." That's when I finally understood. Miracles happen when a person is willing to have a little faith in their body and give it what it needs. And that's what I want you to remember. It all starts in the morning. It sets the tone for the entire day for your blood vessels, joints, and nervous system. What you eat first either revitalizes your body or, conversely, puts it to sleep. But most people, unfortunately, make the same mistake. Instead of nourishing their muscles and blood vessels, they drink coffee on an empty stomach, have a sweet bun, a sandwich, or something in a hurry, and then they wonder why they feel weak, why their legs ache, why they want to lie down by lunchtime. In my experience, people who start their day right for at least a week already feel the difference. Your gait becomes more confident. Swelling disappears and your feet stop aching by evening. And please don't think that this requires radical lifestyle changes. All you need is a proper breakfast, and I'll show you what that means. But first, I want you to consider whether you actually feel your legs, or whether you simply live as long as they endure, carry you, silently bearing the weight of your worries, anxieties, and chores. Legs aren't just a part of the body, they're a symbol of vitality, inner stability, and support. When legs are strong, a person is confident in themselves, in their steps, in their path. When legs weaken, so does the spirit. I'll tell you something many doctors don't even mention. The connection between nutrition and legs is much deeper than it seems. Every cell in our legs lives thanks to what we give it in the morning. There are special foods that awaken blood vessels, nourish joints, get the blood flowing, and initiate recovery. I'll tell you about them at the end. This is a Simple yet powerful remedy that restores strength and resilience even to those who have already lost faith in improvement. Please watch this video to the end. I promise you'll learn something that can change your morning and therefore your health. I'll share a secret that I kept to myself for a long time because I wanted to make sure it really works, and now, seeing the results of my patients, I say this with confidence. Even after 70 you can restore youth to your legs. The main thing is to know where to start. And now I'll explain why, with age, legs begin to lose strength and what happens inside the body when it stops getting what it needs. This is the key to understanding how to regain the lightness of your feet and confidence in every movement. When a person reaches adulthood, their body seems to begin to speak a new language, and those who can listen to this language live long and feel amazingly at ease. But unfortunately, most people don't hear these quiet signals. They think, well, what can you do? It's old age, when your legs become heavy, your joints ache and weakness sets in. But in reality, it's not old age. It's a consequence of a lack of nutrition and movement at the cellular level. I often explain to patients that with age, not only does the skin lose elasticity, but the veins, arteries, and even the tiny capillaries in the legs also age. They become less elastic, less permeable to blood, which means the muscles and joints receive less oxygen and nutrients, but the legs are precisely the area where blood travels a long way down and then must rise back up to the heart. When the vessels lose tone, the blood begins to stagnate, the tissues suffer from a lack of nutrition, the muscles weaken, and the person feels like cotton wool. Their gait is uneven, and sometimes they feel dizzy. But the most interesting thing is that this process can be reversed. The body is wisely designed. It is always ready to recover if given the right fuel, and the key here is nutrition. Many people think that nutrition is simply calories to keep you from getting hungry, but for a person over 50, food becomes medicine every morning. A chance to give the body something that will restore blood vessels, strengthen muscles, support joints, and improve blood circulation. I remember one woman, she was 63 years old. She came in complaining of leg pain and fatigue. She said, "Doctor, I've started walking like an old lady." We started with simple changes, replacing the usual sweet breakfast with a healthy one, adding one important product, which I'll tell you about later. 3 weeks later, she walked into the office with a smile. You won't believe it, but for the first time in a long time, I walked down stairs without a railing. Her eyes were shining, and I told her what I tell everyone. The body is grateful for care. It always responds if you give it a chance. With age, not only strength fades, but also attention to people get used to enduring it. They tolerate pain, fatigue, swelling. They endure it while their feet ache in the evening, while their shoes feel tight, while the morning begins with heaviness. But the body is not the enemy. It is simply asking for help, and oddly enough, help can be provided not with a pill, but with a spoon. That very same morning spoon with which you eat your first meal. Many underestimate that in adulthood, every bite of food affects blood flow. If breakfast is heavy, fatty, and made from processed foods, the blood becomes thick and viscous. The capillaries can't cope, and the cells receive less oxygen. But if the morning begins with food rich in natural micronutrients, fiber, and antioxidants, the blood vessels awaken, the blood becomes more vibrant, and the muscles receive a boost of energy. This is felt literally in the second week. The legs stop dragging, the gait becomes more confident, and the desire to move more appears. I always say, the brain ages from the top down, but health begins from the bottom up, from the legs. When the legs are active, the heart works better, the brain gets more oxygen, memory, mood, and even sleep improve. That's why any changes should start with restoring strength to the legs, and the best way is not with ointments or injections, but with proper eating habits. Sometimes patients are surprised, "Doctor, can food really have such an effect?" And indeed it can, because food is chemistry and chemistry is life. Blood carries what you give it. If you give it toxins, fats, and sugar, it brings fatigue. If you give it vitamins, minerals, protein, and natural antioxidants, it brings energy, recovery, life. There's a metaphor I like to use. Imagine your blood vessels as small mountain streams. When the water is clean, it runs quickly, filling everything around it with life. But if dirt, moss, and debris get into the stream, the flow slows. It's the same in our veins. When we eat poorly, the blood flow slows, and our legs are the first to feel this stagnation. Therefore, everything we eat either revives this stream or turns it into a swamp. But mature age is a time when we can afford to choose the best. There's No longer any need to run, fuss, or grab the first thing that comes along. You can consciously care for your body, listen to it, and give it what benefits it. This is where true wisdom manifests itself, living not out of habit, but with self-respect. And I know that many men and women after 60 begin to lose confidence. It seems that the body is giving in, that there's less strength, that nothing can be regained. But this is not true. I've seen people even at 80 begin to get up without pain, take long walks, and smile again. All because one day, they said to themselves, I'll try. Believe me, recovery begins, not with pills but with awareness. When you understand how your body works, you begin to help it, not hinder it. And tomorrow you can literally take the first step. And now I'll tell you exactly what helps restore this strength. One product, if included in breakfast, can